guys? What's going on? What are we doing today? Well, today I figured we'd take a minute and talk about my 1991 Jeep Comanche Eliminator. So I've had this thing about 4.5 years. I picked it up from a friend of mine here locally. Between a handful of us here in the Pacific Northwest, we kind of make up a good portion of the Comanche and XJ rare collector, low mileage kind of stuff. And then my shop, Ride Revival and Outdoor Adventures, is kind of the one that puts these things together and makes them all clean and gets them ready for market and gets them ready to exchange hands and that kind of thing. So as the story kind of goes on this one, it was up in the Portland area, and for a number of years, between a couple of friends of mine, they had been going to the owner and buying bits and pieces off of it. So it was kind of getting parted out. Things were getting taken off of it for other Comanches and other Jeeps, and at some point there wasn't very much left of this truck, and so they just kind of asked, well, what do you want for the rest of it? Just take the whole thing from you and we'll just get rid of it. So they took it home and got it there and kind of looked it over and realized what it was. And my buddy actually had a few more Cherokees and some Cherokee parts kind of laying around, so they decided they were going to pull a 92 Cherokee in that they had. It had full drivetrain in it and all that good stuff. So they pulled the motor out of that thing. It had, he said it was just about 200,000 miles on that motor when they pulled it out, but it was running real good and driving and all that. So they put the motor in. The transmission, the original transmission from this thing was in the back in the bed when they got it. So it's the original factory AX15 from this truck that went back into it. They put a new clutch in it when they put it back together. He had a late model Cherokee up there, so they pulled the late model front clip off of it and installed the late model front clip onto this. And then also they pulled the Dana 35 out of it and put a Ford 8.8 under it. It's got 373 gears in it, limited slip, it's a 31 spline, and it's got disc brakes, so that was all plumbed up and ready to go at that point. And then they also did the exhaust and put the exhaust on it, so it's got a factory exhaust up to the catalytic converter, and then from the catalytic converter back, it's single in, dual out, and then it splits and comes over the axle as dual, and then comes out the back dual. So that was done previous to me getting it. It still had the Eliminator decals running down it up to the front clip, so it still said Eliminator on the side of it. It had the Eliminator wheels on it still. The front clip was done. And then they had just found another Comanche to put the interior together with, and the Comanche stuff that they found was all red. The story was that obviously you guys know how hard this stuff is to find. These plastics and these B-pillar plastics here. So this was a whole kit out of a Comanche. So this isn't the gray Eliminator stuff. It doesn't have the console. The Eliminator always had a console. It was always gray. Always had the full length console. Some of them were auto, some of them were manual. They were all 4-liter. Anyway, so this is how my interior kind of got put together. Eliminators have tilt. This does not have tilt, so it's a different column, it's a different key, but I do have the original key for this column that matches the doors. I just never put the lock cylinder into this column, but I still have all that stuff. These seats, I get a lot of questions about these seats. These are a late model Hyundai seat out of a 2-door Hyundai. If I had to guess, probably 2007-ish. Don't even remember what the car was. Went to the wrecking yard, walked around with the tape measure, found some that were out of a 2-door, so that they do that. And we built some custom brackets. You can kind of see my custom brackets, and cut the factory mount off of the bench and then welded that to this, and then this is my new frame. So they actually sit about an inch higher than the stock ones. I'm 6'2", almost 6'3", and my head doesn't rub. I am a little bit elevated in the cab, but my head doesn't rub on the headliner, so that's been all good and all fun. So I have the original Eliminator wheels for it. When it all got, originally I had planned on leaving the Eliminator wheels, putting the Eliminator stickers back on it, and then kind of leaving it this gunmetal and red. It was originally a red truck. That is the factory paint code, so this is the OEM color for this truck. It is lowered. It's sitting on a ZJ, 4-liter ZJ rear spring in the front. Factory Comanche leaf spring with a short Cherokee shackle. And that got us to where we are now. I did cut the front bump stop in half. So that factory bump stop's cut in half. And I've got a couple inches of up travel and plenty of space and clearance to the oil pan. All the steering's still happy. Control arms, all that good stuff. So, stock control arms. These are the loudest fucking trucks in the world. So, control arms are all factory. Steering's all factory. All that stuff's all stock up in the front end. I did a spray and bed liner when I did the restoration and the paint work. But this is the old school bed liner, and evidently I did not get enough top coat on the bed liner when I did the bed liner, so it's starting to chalk out and wash down a little bit. So this just needs to be re-top coated, or you could sand this bumpy off and then do like a urethane Raptor liner. Raptor liner at the time hadn't been around very long, and I didn't trust it. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, it could use a new top coat on the bed liner or a new bed liner, but I mean, it's still there. It's good. It's protecting it. It's doing its job. Tailgate, roll pan. You get lots of questions about this. 50-50 on whether people appreciate it or whether they think I'm taking away from the fact that it's a Jeep pickup and it should say Jeep back there so that everybody knows that it's a Comanche. I get it. Here's the skinny on it. This tailgate was beat to snot when I got it. The entire inside. This is a factory Comanche tailgate. This thing was hit so hard and so beat up that there was no way I was going to be able to straighten the stamping in the Jeep and this center section of the tailgate in order to make it, you know, match the rest of the truck as far as the bodywork quality was concerned. So I tried to source another one. I was down to the day before I had to paint this thing. So I started this truck when I had no jobs in the shop. At the same year I started Ride Revival. I took on a big project when I was in the middle of this one, and so I had to get off of this truck to get onto the client job that I said yes to in the middle of this project. So I was down to the day of painting it. The next day I was going to put this thing in the booth, and I had not solved my tailgate issue. And so here's where I was. Either I find a good tailgate today and I prep it tonight and have it hung on the truck and ready for paint tomorrow, or today I do anything that I can to try to make this tailgate fit the rest of the work that I've done on this truck so that I can still paint it tomorrow. So I had already done the roll pan. This roll pan is hand rolled. I built this by hand, and I put an edge in the bottom of it so it's not real flimsy. It's pretty solid. It's screwed in here and here. So if you wanted to remove this roll pan, you just have to cut the seam sealer, pull the two screws out, and the securement screws on the inside, and this roll pan would come out, and then you could replace this with a regular bumper. I wanted to try to match this roll pan and try to save the tailgate at the same time, so I took a day and I skinned the factory tailgate. Now you can kind of hear the story of my haste on trying to get this done. Well, when I did it, One, it's not the super most flattest thing in the world. It's pretty dang good. It's not show quality, but where I fell down is I didn't get it welded good enough down here at the seams, and because I didn't get it welded good enough, it's starting to come loose now. So this tailgate, it still looks good, but it's kind of starting to come apart here, and there's some evidence of this panel kind of lifting up here too. So it's fixable. It could be redone or repainted pretty easily. Like I said, it's a factory color with nothing special in it, so this could be redone. Or you can just take this sucker off, throw it in the garbage, make a bench out of it, and then get original tailgate and then just repaint the original tailgate. It'd be super easy to do. It's the original color. Just throw another tailgate on it. So that's the story of the roll pan and the tailgate. It was just one of those things that I was just trying to get through the project and bring it to fruition, and the last thing that I was going to do was paint the whole vehicle and not have a tailgate on it. So there's the tailgate. If I find a factory one, I might put that on there, whatever. So then I got the paint job all done, restoration was all done, she was running, she was driving, and I was ready to sell it. The reason I even did this, and you guys can see I've got Jeeps and Comanches and whatever all over the place. I didn't really need another Jeep, but I knew that this was a 91 Eliminator. It's an HO, it's not a Renix, it's a factory HO. It's a factory two-wheel drive, it's a factory Eliminator, factory 5-speed. It's not the street Comanche street trucks, but this is a factory street truck. I didn't want a four-wheel drive converted. I knew what it was. I wanted to do the hard work. I wanted to do the hard work on this thing, the work that most other people can't do, which is the paint, the body, the restoration, the rust repair, that kind of thing. Get it to this type of condition, not four-wheel drive convert it, and then I wanted to list it to market. The reason that I wanted to do that is because I know what it is and I know how special this truck is. Now, if you want to take it, I knew that it probably wasn't going to stay 4-liter 5-speed two-wheel drive. More than likely, the person that's going to buy this thing is either going to four-wheel drive convert it, they're going to LS swap it, they're going to put a turbo in it, and the turbo technologies for 4 liters is coming along now. Somebody's going to do something different to this truck because it's not all the way to fruition. Okay, so that's where I wanted to stop. I wanted to stop there so that I could list this thing for about $8,000. That's where I wanted to be, was about $8,000. That would have put enough money in my pocket to justify the paint job. I've enjoyed the pickup. Everybody loves it. Time to go to a new home. That's all good, okay? So I started driving it. Now, I'm one of those that I'm second generation, and I'm not going to put something to market that I can't hang my hat on, that I couldn't put my kids in, that I couldn't put my wife in and say, yeah, drive it to the other side of the country, because there's nothing wrong with this thing. It is ready to go. I started putting miles on it just to make sure, and Jeeps, man. Yeah, it showed its ugly face on what was not done to it. So then I spent the next year and a half, almost 2 years, going through the vehicle, just driving it, putting miles on it, and then the heater core went out. So it's got a heater core in it. Then the head gasket went out. So I pulled the top end and rebuilt the whole top end of it. And then I went through and I painted everything and cleaned it all up and shaved the wiring and tucked the stuff and did all that stuff. Why? Because I was in there. Well, then this sensor went out, and then that sensor went out, and then this happened, and then the lights, and then, you know, so now fast forward 2.5 years past that, I've been through almost every single nut and bolt in this truck. It's done, it's good, it's reliable, it gets killer gas mileage. I'm not kidding you, it gets killer gas mileage. It's fast, it's fun, it turns heads everywhere it goes. I mean, look at this engine bay, guys, look what I did to it. I mean, it's fully painted. Firewall, cylinder heads painted, valve covers. All of these brackets are all base coat, clear coat silver, so you can see me just wiping it off. Oh yeah, all of the brackets are that way. I did this whole engine compartment that way so it could be cleaned up and used as a show truck if you want to go that route with it. You want to pull this and do an LS, it's just a 4-liter, it's all good. But I did all the wiring loom, I did all the silicone hoses, painted it. I taped up the stickers. I saved the body tag. Did the bottom of the hood. I mean, I did my due diligence here on making this as nice of a truck as I could make it. To give you the confidence that you can still drive it down the road without feeling like it's a show truck, and I don't want to damage it, because it's not a show truck, but it is a very, very, very nice Comanche that has a very low production numbers. It's very rare for the year, and I mean, what more can you say about it? Let's go in the office and finish chatting, because traffic is doing its traffic thing right now. So let's talk about it. Where are we at now? Well, I listed it on Bring a Trailer. I was the first one to list a Jeep Comanche on Bring. Well, I take that back. The second one to list a Jeep Comanche on Bring a Trailer, and I did the cardinal sin and was like, you know, look at this thing. Look at how nice it is. There's no possible way that I'm going to get hurt on it. I've only got X amount of money into it. Let's just throw it up no reserve and let's see what this Comanche market's really got in it. And I watched it for a week. I watched the auction go down, bid, and the final hammer dropped, and it dropped for $4,400. $4,400. If you guys don't know what paint costs, I probably couldn't paint that truck today for that amount of money. You would be into it $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 probably to paint that truck with all the shape stuff on it. So I got a hold of the guy who won the auction and said, hey, look, man, I'm a man of my word. My business is built on honesty and integrity, and did I think that it was going to go for this? I'm about ready to cry. I put my life, my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, and is what it is. I'll honor it, and where do I need to send the thing to? And he messaged me and said, you know what, I couldn't. He said he's been selling cars, trying to get rid of cars. He's got an extensive collection, but he really wanted a two-wheel drive, manual transmission, 4-liter, short bed Comanche, and he'd been looking for one for years and years and years, and that was the only reason that he bid on mine, was because it was what he was looking for, and he didn't even want it, but he wanted to try. But if he wanted to take a Comanche down and have it painted, he said he couldn't get the body and paint done for what he just bought that truck for. And so he told me, if you want to go ahead and pay me back for my auction fees, the cost that I have out to win the auction, then I'll go ahead and let you keep the truck and you can do what you need to do with it. I can't thank that man enough. He's in South Carolina somewhere, some random stranger on Bring a Trailer. Man, that saved my life on this truck. So I brought it back and, you know, worked on it and kept working on it and got it all dialed in. Now, here we are. I've tried to sell it 3 times. I've been trying to sell that truck for 2 years. Straight up. Everybody that's seen it and want to make me an offer on it, they want to make me a $6,500 offer for that truck. It's a $6,500 truck with a $5,000 paint job on it, with probably another $3,000 worth of custom fabrication done to it. Is it perfect? Is it a show truck? No, it's not. Is it a OEM Eliminator? No, it's not an OEM Eliminator. It's got different interior. It's got a shaped tailgate. It's got a late model front clip. It has a non-numbers matching motor in it. It's got no, it's not an OEM restoration. Is it a resto mod? I guess you could call it a resto mod. It's got a late model front clip. It's got a shaped tailgate and a roll pan. It's got a different interior in it, but for the most part, it's all Jeep factory parts. Aside from the shaped tailgate and the roll pan, the front clip's all factory, the interior is all factory, the motor's all factory, everything's all factory. And to be honest with you, anybody that's going to be looking at this vehicle, anybody that's looking at Cherokees or Comanches, I mean, let's not lie. Don't lie to yourself, don't lie to me. We all know that they're Legos. I mean, just like Hondas. You can set 10 of them outside, and every part from every one will exchange to the other one, just pulling the bolts and putting the bolts in. Not a big deal. I mean, you want a 4-wheel drive, convert it. 4-wheel drive conversions can be done in a weekend with a father and son, with a handbag full of tools, a floor jack, and you guys can get her done. It cost, for the parts, anywhere in the country, you're going to spend $1,000. Some places a little bit more, most places a lot bit less for Cherokee parts. You need a front axle, you need a transfer case, you need 2 drive lines. If you do an automatic transmission, you need a transmission control unit. That's it. It all bolts in. It's all got the spots for it. So I sold another one last year. It was sitting exactly right next to this truck, right there where that red one is. And it was 4-wheel drive. It was an 87. It was a Pioneer. It was a long bed. It was a Renix. It was restored. It had a topper. It had spray-in bed liner. It had bumpers. It had whatever, 410 gears and lockers and all that good stuff in it. It sold for $17,000. And it got shipped to Maui. And the guy who bought it said he would have bought mine had it been 4-wheel drive, and shipped them both on the same boat. Okay. I've got axles and control arms and transfer cases and transmission control units, and I've got Jeep parts and Jeep parts and Jeep parts and Jeep parts. I work on Jeeps for a living. That's what you do. You hoard Jeep parts. So me to 4-wheel drive convert this thing in a shop with parts already here, it's going to cost me about 1.5 days and like $50 worth of parts to 4-wheel drive convert this thing. Okay, if I 4-wheel drive convert a 1991 Comanche short bed Eliminator, full body and paint, full restoration, complete interior, complete engine compartment, done, ready to rock, that thing's getting listed for $17,500, and I will not take less than $16,000 for it, period. And you'll probably be looking at me like, $16,000, dude, that's going to be a $20,000 truck all day long. Exactly. I know. I don't want to sell it to somebody who's got $20,000 in their pocket. I'm sorry. Somebody that's got $20,000 in their pocket, they can go get whatever they want. The guy I want to sell this to, and always have wanted to sell this to, is somebody that knows what it is, has got a spark, wants to enjoy it, cannot do the body and paint themselves, but still wants to own something for a respectable amount of money. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Okay. So here I am. I posted some pictures of it here last week. Was like, this was the quote: I haven't had my balls busted in a couple of months. Might be time to relist my 91 Eliminator. And that sucker, that post is still getting likes and likes and likes, and people are telling me I'm crazy for listing it and yada yada yada. So here it is. What do we do with it? Do we yank that motor out, LS convert it? Do we put an underbed turbo in it? Do I dig the axles and transfer case and all that bullshit out? And do I bring it in here and do me and my son and my wife do a 4-wheel drive conversion in a week and then relist it as a 4-wheel drive Eliminator so that you guys can have it for your 16 or 17 or 18,000 and everybody can win? Do I leave it like it is? Do I just drop back 10, punt, and say fuck all you guys and I'm just going to keep it forever? No, it's going to get relisted. But there's where I'm at. And there's the story of my Comanche. I feel like that there's very few people in the United States or in the world that could, you know, do something like this and keep it under budget and not be asking for $1 million or not feeling like that, you know, like this thing is the greatest thing since sliced bread and I gotta have so much money for it because it's the coolest thing in the world. Like, I work on cars and Jeeps all day long, every day. This is a 92 Limited with 153,000 miles on it. It's worth probably 3 times that Comanche is. Okay, there's my 2000. I've got 15 grand in suspension on it. There's my Comanche trailer. There's the next one that I'm getting ready to build. I got another one around the corner. I got a Comanche at home that I'm getting ready to build as a crawler. It's a 87 Pioneer. I don't need it. I do not need it. So I think maybe what I'll do is I'll take this thing for a drive home. I'm gonna take some more pictures of it for you guys. I'm gonna post this video. I'll get me a good thumbnail for you guys, and I'm gonna just flood it all over the place. I'll put it on my YouTube channel. I'll even put it on my Instagram and Facebook, and then we'll share it from Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see how much shit you guys talk to me. But I'm out here in Oregon. Comanches aren't the hardest thing to find out here in Oregon, but a 91 short bed Eliminator with a full restoration, good luck to you. You find another one nicer, you think you can do better somewhere else, go find it. Bring it back here and rub it all up in my nose. I'll shake your hand and be like, damn, bro, good job. I don't really care. You guys want this thing? Come get it. Or tell me what the hell is wrong with me, because for the life of me, I can't figure it out. Appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed the footage. Make sure to leave me a comment down below and let me know how idiotic you really think I am, what you really think of this truck, or maybe what you think we ought to do with it. Hope you guys have a good weekend, a good week. I appreciate you listening to all my banter. Thank you so much for checking out my pickup. And thank you so much for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. I'm ready to go home.